Advanced butterfly, blue line drills, sliding butterfly. As we have said before, the best way to practice something is to do it away from the net over larger distances. This allows the goalie to do many repetitions in a straight line. This drill is no exception. Have the goaltender start on the goal line facing parallel to the sideboards. From here, they will do a continuous string of sliding butterflies with full recoveries. This will be done to the blue line and back. This drill may seem simple enough, but it may be deceiving. There are some things that you will have to look out for. First and foremost, as we have already said, the lead leg must drive down to the ice first. This drill will not work if this isn't accomplished. The second thing to watch is again the lead leg. Inexperienced goaltenders have a tendency to tuck the lead leg back behind them right in the middle of the move. This all but defeats the purpose of the lead leg going down first. Goalies must keep their legs out as far as they can at all times, even if this means having to move more slowly to accomplish it. It is better to move slower with your legs fully extended than it is to move more quickly with your leg tucked behind you. You will cover much more net with your legs extended. Sliding butterfly variation 1. The sliding butterfly variation not only helps with the standard butterfly slide, but it will also help build endurance as well as lead into a quick change of directions. Just like the other variation drills on this and the third DVD, the goalie will start on the goal line. The goalie will then slide 3 times toward the blue line, then drive 1 time back. This will be repeated to the blue line and back. Just as with any sliding butterfly, be sure to keep the legs fully extended at all times. Sliding butterfly variation 2. This second variation of the sliding butterfly drill adds one more level of difficulty. The goalie will start on the goal line parallel to the sideboards. They will then execute 2 sliding butterflies facing one direction, then spin 180 degrees into 2 sliding butterflies still heading the same direction. Watch for the goalie's balance and sense of direction. As they begin to spin, many goalies will lose balance or even the heading in which they were supposed to be going. Elite movements. 2 pylon backside recovery drill. One of the best drills to do once the goalie has mastered the backside recovery technique is to add a scenario in which they will be unable to anticipate. Set up 2 pylons or pucks 2 to 3 feet outside the crease and just outside the posts. The goalie will start at the top of the crease in a butterfly. The shooter will come in carrying a puck. At the last second, the shooter will divert and go around a cone and take a shot. The goalie has to wait for the shooter to make the move and then perform a backside recovery to make the save. If the goalie has not yet mastered the hip rotation, it will be almost impossible for them to get to the back door to make the save. 3-shooter backside recovery drill. One of our favorite drills is the 3-shooter backside recovery. It requires a lot of focus from the goaltender to be accurate and precise in making the moves to get in proper position. Place 1 shooter in the slot in front of the goalie. This shooter will always shoot first to start the drill. Then, place a shooter off to either side with pucks on the back door. The goalie will set up on the shooter in the slot. The first shot will be taken. The goalie must make the initial save, then backside recover to the back door for a secondary save. The goalie should alternate sides and be made aware of which side a secondary shot will come from. This will eliminate confusion. Double butterfly. The double butterfly differs from the backside recovery in that you are doing 2 full sliding butterflies and incorporating the backside recovery. Whereas the backside recovery is usually just a stationary butterfly, then a sliding butterfly, the double butterfly, if done effectively and quickly, will set the goaltender above all the rest. It is one of the most difficult moves to use because of the drastic change of direction and speed necessary to accomplish it. If it is done correctly, the goaltender will dramatically decrease their goals against and increase their save percentage. Zipper butterfly drill. The zipper butterfly drill is a great way to practice hip rotation and repetition of the double butterfly. This drill has a few variations to it, as do many others. The goalie can perform it forwards, backwards, or both. The drill starts out on the goal line. The goalie will start on a 45-degree angle to the goal line. This will simulate the normal direction the goalie will be facing while performing this move in a game situation. From here, the goalie will do a series of sliding butterflies forward to the blue line, each one adding a 45-degree pivot before the next sliding butterfly. Once at the blue line, the goalie will then skate in their stance backwards. Doing this drill forwards tends to be more challenging than backwards due to the fact that goaltenders are much more comfortable moving backwards. The next set will be done in just the reverse. The goalie will now skate forward to the blue line, then stop and pivot to a 45-degree angle. They will then execute the same series of sliding butterflies with 45-degree pivots all the way back to the goal line. The biggest pet peeve that we have with this drill is that goalies add an extra backward skating motion to each butterfly. There should be no reverse motion other than the 45-degree pivoting butterflies. Once goaltenders get a good feel for this move forward and backward, they can execute it in both directions in the same drill. In the crease. Once goaltenders begin to get comfortable with a double butterfly, it is time to incorporate it into a game situation. There are two main variations in which a goaltender will have to perform in a game. The first move is the far to near double butterfly. This simply means that the first move of the goalie is to the far side of the net, then back to the near side. This will simulate a game situation in which a shooter comes in on an off-center breakaway and makes a deke to the middle of the net, and then pulls it back to the near side to try and score. Here, the goalie will initiate a sliding butterfly to the center of the net. Once they realize the shooter has made the deke, they will pivot and reverse back to the near side in the direction from which they came. The second move is the near to far double butterfly. This means that the goalie is to move to the near side before going to the far side. This move is more difficult than the first, in that the goalie loses angle by having to drive to the near side before they go all the way across the crease. This move will again simulate an off-center breakaway, with the difference being the direction of the first deke. The shooter would theoretically make a move to the near side to draw the goalie back, and then pull it across the front of the net to the far side. The goalie will mimic this move. They will attack, then retreat, slide to the near side post, then pivot and slide to the far side. Pendulum drill with a shooter. The pendulum drill, up to this point, has been nothing but dry movements: long, short, fast, and slow. Now, we are going to put those movements to the test by adding a shooter into the mix. With a shooter just above the hash marks with pucks, start the goalie square to the shooter but off to one side. The shooter will then initiate the drill by shooting at the opposite side that the goalie is on. The goalie will then slide into the shot. As the first puck is released, the shooter will take a second shot at the opposite side of the net. This will be repeated with multiple shots, so the goalie performs a pendulum move repeatedly. Timing for this drill is key. If the shooter is too slow, the goalie will be waiting and/or sliding out of position. If the shooter is too fast, then the goalie will not have enough time to make the first save, then push correctly over to the next shot. Pendulum drill variation 1. The first pendulum was with a stationary shooter. This drill brings the pendulum to the next level by adding in a game situation. The shooter will now be in front of the goalie only a few feet away. They can either have pucks scattered so they are easy to pick up, or, as we like to do it, they can receive a pass every time they curl around. The goalie will start in the same position, off to one side of the net but still square. The shooter will skate a few feet to the opposite side and take a shot. The goalie must move into the shot and make the save. Immediately after the first shot, the shooter must curl around in a tight half circle to pick up another puck. As soon as they pick up the puck, they must shoot it to the opposite side. This will be repeated. The most efficient way for a shooter to perform this drill is by skating a figure eight. This simulates a situation where the goalie gives up a rebound and the shooter curls with it to the opposite side to score. Advanced movements. This section of drills takes the simple principles of DVD 3 drills and adds a higher level of difficulty. Straight line movement, shuffle variation 2. In the previous DVD, the shuffles were only done in a straight line in one direction at a time. This drill not only incorporates the simple task of shuffles, but also adds balance and coordination. Just as before, start on the goal line facing either sideboards. The goalie will perform 2 to 3 shuffles facing one direction. Then they will do a 180-degree turn to the opposite direction and do 2 or 3 more. This will continue all the way to the blue line and back. T-push variation 2. The T-push variation 2 is the same concept as the shuffle variation 2. The only change comes in the lateral movement. Instead of shuffles, the goalie will implement T-pushes, 2 facing one direction, and then a 180-degree turn with 2 T-pushes in the other direction. Bloopers. Conclusion. We've covered quite a bit of material in this 4-part series, and there are 1 or 2 common themes that you may have picked up on while viewing. The first theme is repetition. Regardless of the starting point ability of the goaltender, improvement can only be achieved with proper repetition. Repetition begets familiarity, and it's our hope that this training series becomes a good and frequently used reference material in your training library. The second area would be progressive skill development. Before a goaltender can develop the advanced skill sets represented in DVDs 2 and 4, they have got to master those skills in DVDs 1 and 3. Trying to implement advanced skills at any other interval will only cause frustration for the goalie, the coach, and for the goalie's parents. Finally, we'd like to thank you again for your time and confidence in Between the Pipes goalie clinics. And remember that when it comes to goaltending, your game starts here. Conditioning. As a goaltender gets older and matures, the game becomes more and more of a mental battle than a physical one. One exaggerated claim says that when a goalie is young, the game is 10% mental and 90% physical. This means that kids can just show up to the rink and play. The kids, who at this stage are more athletically inclined, will be the better players. As the goaltender matures, the game changes to 10% physical and 90% mental. This is where mental focus is key to success, and fatigue has to be a thing of the past. One of the best ways to keep your mind from fatiguing and to stay focused on the game is to practice your moves so thoroughly that they become effortless and automatic. These next drills, if done right and repeated, will accomplish just that. Duck walk. The duck walk could be one of the hardest conditioning drills to accomplish. The speed and balance required will come with practice. The goalie can start at any point on the ice. One at a time, the goalie will bring one knee up, then the other. As one knee is heading back to the ice, the other should be on its way up. The goalie will get a forward push from the knee that is on its way down. This drill looks for the speed of knees, not the distance traveled per push. Keep this in mind if you are thinking about taking large pushes so the drill is less fatiguing. Leg pulls. The best muscle next to the groin that has to be worked on is the back of the thighs or the hamstrings. A majority of the power that a goalie will supply on a given push will come from this region. While on their butt, the goalie will dig their skates in and pull their body across the ice, keeping their body in a crunch position. This drill may be extremely tiresome at first, so start with short distances, then work your way up. Iron Cross. In DVD 3, the Iron Cross shows its versatility to incorporate multiple movements and recoveries. These next sets are no different. DVD 3 only uses standing lateral movement to get to the side of the circle. Here, we will change that. There are two main variations that we will talk about that again only change the sideways movement. First is the sliding butterfly. Second is a rollover. A sliding butterfly on the sides is a simple way to help the goalie incorporate more variety into this drill. Having the goalie roll over does nothing to help the goalie to be more technical. It is purely a way to help build endurance. Any goalie that has tried to roll over multiple times can tell you how cumbersome it can be. Close movement drills. As we have stated in our earlier DVDs, being a goaltender requires an unheard of amount of agility and speed. Goaltenders at the highest levels must be able to take their body and all of its momentum, stop it in a split second, and then reverse the direction of movement. Close movement drills are designed to help with just that. These drills require the goaltender to explode in different directions while confining them to a small area. This will force the goalies to explode, stop, and so forth. Place two pucks or cones in a straight line 6 to 8 feet apart for beginners. The goalie must remain inside this parameter at all times, not touching or hitting any of the pucks. As the goalie gets faster and better, they will require less space, and you can begin to move the pucks even closer together. This setup allows you to do a couple of drills without varying the pucks or the distance. The first drill to do with this setup is to have the goalie attack toward the puck in front of them as quickly as possible. Once there, they will have to transition to a retreat. As soon as they are on the retreat, they must drop down into a butterfly and recover just as quickly. Once recovered, they must immediately change direction to attack and repeat the retreat into the butterfly. This should be done as quickly as possible within the distance of the pucks. This drill simulates a quick break-in and an in-tight situation where the goalie has to gain depth, then make the save on the retreat. The second drill to do with this setup is the exact same thing as the first, except for the direction of the butterfly. Instead of dropping down on the retreat, the goalie must now drop to a butterfly on the attack. This will simulate a similar situation to a quick one-time pass to the front of the net where the goalie has to try to gain as much depth as possible while stopping the shot. The third drill that is good to do with these pucks is the pendulum drill, or continuous butterfly. Instead of the goalie being perpendicular to the pucks, they will now be parallel. The goalie will do continuous sliding butterflies back and forth, changing direction before hitting each puck. This will help the goalie build up the strength to lead them into the double butterfly, which we will talk about shortly. The continuous butterfly. The pendulum drill, or as we call it, the continuous butterfly drill, can be beneficial when done outside of close movement situations such as those found in the last section. There are actually 3 slight variations to this drill, and they come into play on the recovery side. Given a good amount of distance, the goalie will initiate this drill doing sliding butterflies there and back. The 3 variations are: 1. Full recovery. This is where the goalie will slide over and recover all the way to their feet before going back. 2. Half recovery. Here, the goalie will not quite get all the way up to their feet, but they won't stay on the ice either. This is the halfway point. The outside leg comes up, and the inside leg only comes slightly off the ice. 3. No recovery. This recovery is self-explanatory. The goalie will stay down in a continuous shimmy back and forth, making sure that the inside leg stays to the ice as the goalie moves back and forth. Follow the stick. More and more we find goalies at this middle stage where they have developed the fundamentals but still lack overall speed and quickness. These goalies tend to anticipate more often than they should. A good way to correct this tendency is to run them through drills in which they can only react. They have to watch and wait for the signal, as opposed to other drills where they can move beforehand. This simple drill of following the stick can be used for 2 different movements. Breakaway drill. The breakaway drill is a simple move replicating a breakaway situation. In this situation, time and time again, we see goaltenders anticipate and get burned. With a coach in front of the goalie should challenge up to the coach, then retreat back. As the goalie is retreating, the coach will point their stick to one direction or the other. This is the signal for the goalie to pivot and push in a sliding butterfly to the back door. This drill should mimic the Y theory, just like in the crease. Backside recovery. Another great drill to help goaltenders not to anticipate is the backside recovery drill with the goalie following the stick. Use the same setup with a coach in front of the goalie for this drill. This time around, the goalie will be stationary a few feet in front of the coach. The coach will drop his stick to the ice. This is the signal to drop to a butterfly. Following the drop of the stick, the coach will angle it to one side or the other. This is the signal for the goalie to pivot the hips and perform backside recovery. The goalie will recover and move back into center in front of the coach. Crease movement drills. Square. Just as in DVD 3, the square movement will stay the same. The goalie will start on one post, then challenge to the near angle, then across to the far angle, back to the far post, then post to start over. The difference will come in the lateral movement that the goalie will choose. There are two main variations of the square movement drill that elite goaltenders should focus on. The first is simply implementing a sliding butterfly in place of the normal T-push for the lateral movement. The second is a bit more difficult. It requires a sliding butterfly combined with a backside recovery. The goalie will move from the near post to the near angle. From there, they will execute a sliding butterfly. Without recovering, the goalie will perform a backside recovery on the far angle back towards the far post. Recovering from there back to the post, and then moving post to finish the drill. Near side butterfly. Being able to change direction and momentum very quickly will be a deciding factor in making a save or watching the puck go in behind you. The near side butterfly combines simple moves that focus on a quick change in motion. The goalie will start on either post. They will then challenge out to the center angle. Here, they will stop and immediately pivot and drive into a sliding butterfly back to the post side where they started. One common mistake goalies make when doing this drill is loss of being square. The goaltender will challenge out to the center angle and never square up. They will push and stop, keeping their shoulders on the 45-degree angle to aid them in their movement back. The goalie should always square up and make a good solid pivot to drive back to the post. Far side butterfly. The far side butterfly is very similar to the near side butterfly. The drill works not only on the quick change of direction, but on a change of pivot as well. The drill starts with a goalie on either post. The goalie will then challenge out to the center angle just as before. Instead of the goalie pivoting and driving back to the post they came from, they will instead turn to the opposite direction and perform a sliding butterfly to the far angle. The same areas to look out for will apply. Make sure the goalie keeps square at all times. One other thing that goaltenders do more on this side than the near side is stopping on the wrong foot. Goalies, knowing that they have to pivot and drive to the far angle, will cheat the drill and stop on the outside foot instead of the inside. This will eliminate the need to pivot and drive to the back door, but the problem it creates goes back to being square at all times. Backside recovery. This recovery drill is no different from others done on this DVD, except that it's done in the crease to simulate a game situation. Have the goalie start at the top of the crease, either in a stance or a butterfly. They will then, at their own pace, drop to a butterfly if they were standing. Once in this position, they will turn their head, then shoulders, then hips, and finally, they will bring their leg up into a pushing position and push off. This setup is specifically designed to perfect the move. The goalie should start out slowly, then progress with speed after developing the technique. The most important thing to watch out for on this drill is the hip rotation. The hips have to rotate around to be the square to the play. If the goalie doesn't rotate their hips but instead tries to compensate and turn while they're pushing off, they will not only be too slow, but inevitably they will not be square to the oncoming shot. Once the goalie gets comfortable with the move, a shooter can be added. The goalie will execute the backside recovery and then drive back to the center for a shot. This is a good drill to do for warm-up. Combination movement. The combination movement drill is exactly that. It combines multiple movements and multiple directions. The goalie will start at the top of the crease in the center of the net. From here, they will pivot out to either post, then challenge out to the opposite angle. Once there, the goalie will pivot and drive in a sliding butterfly all the way to the opposite side back door. The goalie will recover and move back to center to start the drill sequence over again. Since this drill covers a lot of pivots and movement, Watch for the little things. Make sure the goalie is stopping on the proper foot and pivoting before moving. Chinese fire drill. The Chinese fire drill is not a pretty drill. It is a chaotic drill that is designed to help increase speed of recovery from the butterfly. A shooter will start with pucks 3 to 5 feet in front of the goalie. Many pucks will be needed. The shooter can set them up in rows if it is easier for him. From here, the shooter has to rapid fire the pucks at the goalie, timing them so the goalie should have just enough time to initiate a recovery before having to go down yet again. The pucks should be shot low if you're working strictly on butterfly recoveries. If you are looking to help reaction time as well, the shooter can have free rein on where they place the shot. This drill can also be practiced with or without a stick. If the goaltender is too comfortable using the stick or getting dependent on using it, take it away and repeat the drill. For the coaches. Many of the drills described in this section can benefit your entire team. Selection and rotation of your shooters represents a fantastic opportunity to develop and hone the skill sets of your players. Improve techniques on the walkouts, one-timers, and more. Many of the requirements represented in these goalie-specific drills can be replicated and implemented into team offensive and defensive tactical development drills. Be sure to stay current with articles, clinics, and private lessons, all available at www.btpclinics.com. In tight situations. More often than not, a goalie will find themselves having to make saves with a play in tight. This requires a transition less of stance than it does of readiness. A goalie can preload their stance as much as they would like, but if they do not carry the same amount of readiness, the preloading will be all but useless. The Hasek drill. One of the best ways to improve a shimmy or lateral movement of the butterfly is with the Hasek drill. One shooter is required with 7 to 10 pucks. Place the pucks to mimic the arc of the crease. Be sure to place them a foot or so outside of the crease. If the pucks are too close to the crease and the goalie, it will not challenge the goalie enough. Starting on one side of the net and as fast as possible, the shooter must rapid fire all of the pucks in a row, moving all the way around the crease. The goalie should be in a paddle down or half split to cover the greatest amount of net while moving. As the shooter moves from one puck to the next, the goalie must make small adjustments, not only laterally, but in following the arc of the crease. If the goalie were to go in a straight line instead of around the crease, they would end up outside of the crease, off angle, and out of position by the time they reached the center of the net. Once the goaltender gets comfortable with their edges, it is time to use the variation of this drill that really focuses on quick changes of direction. The difficulty of this drill soars as you use this next variation. Use a similar setup of pucks, except this time use 5 to 8, not 10. To determine a starting point, the shooter will tell the goalie which puck he will shoot first. Instead of the shooter going from one side to the other shooting puck after puck, it is the choice of which one to shoot at random. Don't expect to stop every puck on this drill. The drill stretches the limits of even the top NHL goaltender's abilities to move and change directions multiple times. 5-hole pull. The 5-hole pull is an almost effortless drill for the shooter, but is still challenging on the goaltender. The goalie will start in a preload stance at the top of the crease. There will be a shooter only a couple of feet away. The shooter will start with their stick on top of the puck in a ready position. From there, they will pull the puck or push the puck to either side and try to slide it in through the 5-hole. The goaltender must see the move, pivot their body, and get the lead leg down as they move into a sliding butterfly. Breakaway lead-up. The most crucial time in a breakaway comes at the last second, where the shooter must make a decision which direction they will go. This is where the gap between the goalie and shooter is at its smallest, and the movement of the goalie at its slowest. To combat the necessity to slow down when the shooter is committing, the goalie can improve their speed by pivoting and driving to the back door in a sliding butterfly. The goalie on this drill will start from a standing position at the top of the crease. This is where the goalie must make a decision, regardless of the shooter, on which way to commit. The puck should be placed on its own a couple of feet in front of the goalie. This is where the puck would be, theoretically, if a shooter were approaching on a breakaway. The shooter will be without a puck around the top of the circles. At the shooter's pace, they will pick up speed all the way to the puck, and at the last moment pull the puck to one side or the other. This will simulate that last split second of a breakaway where both sides must commit to the play. Because of the lack of backward momentum, many goaltenders will find themselves backing up before the shooter gets to the puck. Don't let this happen to you. Backing up only gives the shooter more options as well as minimizes your angles and depth. Live screen and tip. Don't get this drill confused with the first screen drill. There is a difference. In the live tip and screen, the tip was moving, making it live. In this drill, the screen is the active player now. This drill is used to accomplish two things, using only a slight variation. First, it is used as a way to work on screens and rebounds. The second is to work on screens and tips. This drill will require two shooters. One will have pucks at the top of the circle's center of the net, and the other will be in front of the goalie. The difference in variation comes in with the screen. If you want to work on rebounds, the shooter in front will face the goalie, acting as a screen, and then waiting to try and score off the rebound. If you're trying to work on tips, the shooter in front will be facing the shooter, opposing them at the circles with pucks, trying not for the rebound now, but for the tip instead. Regardless of the setup of the screen, the drill remains the same. One shooter in front of the other with pucks. At the shooter's pace, pucks will be shot at the net. The shooter in front will either try to get the rebounds or only focus on tipping the puck. Goalies, don't fall victim to short-sightedness. This means that you are only looking around the shooter in one direction. If you get too comfortable and look around the shooter in the same direction for a prolonged period of time, you will be vulnerable to short side. Be sure to move around up and down and side to side, making sure that you have the puck in sight at all times. One-timers. With the rules in the NHL, many more scoring opportunities are becoming readily available in the slot, in front and off to the sides of the net. Shooters are now allowed to camp out in the red zone and not be pushed out by the opposing defenseman. This equates to many more effortless goals using one-timers. The only way to really defend this scenario without anticipating the shot is to practice it over and over. One-timers don't just happen in front of the net, so be sure to vary this drill, having a shooter stand on the near side, out in front, and then off to the far side. The level of difficulty for the one-timers starts with the easiest being the near side because of the lack of movement necessary. The hardest of the one-timers is the back door or far side. This requires the maximum amount of movement the goalie will have to cover. With pucks in the corner, set up a shooter on the near side around the bottom of the circle. The other shooter must remain behind the goal line passing the puck. One after another, have the shooter receive passes and one-time them on net. This is where a good blocking butterfly comes into play. After a few repetitions, have the shooter move to the middle and repeat the same thing. Finally, have the shooter with pucks move out on top of the goal line to provide a better angle from which to pass. Have the second shooter move to the back door and commence the drill. The hardest thing on this drill lies with the shooters. Too many shooters find themselves moving farther and farther out of position. Mentally, they are thinking of scoring, and the best way to do that is to keep moving over to get a better angle. Be sure they stay in your position. Walkouts. One of the hardest plays to make and yet the least practiced are walkouts. Shooters in a game love to bring the puck down around the back of the net. This doesn't give them the opportunity to score, but it puts them in the best position when it comes to options. From behind the net, they can continue for a wraparound, stop and walk out the near side, or pass to a teammate waiting on the back door. Have one shooter with pucks in either corner. The shooter will skate along the goal line until they get close enough to make a decision to go around the back or right in front. You can simplify the drill as a coach by only working on one side at a time, wrapping behind the net or walking out in front of the net. After the goalie gets adequate practice, you can place a shooter in front of the net and give the shooter from the corner 3 options: a wrap, a walkout, or a pass. Between the Pipes presents Goaltending. Your game starts here. The only instructional video series you'll ever need. We've pulled out all the stops and stepped up the heat on the competition. The result is a new benchmark for goalie-specific training, a new standard featuring multiple camera angles, animation, thorough, understandable instruction, and a price tag that will fit into any program. This 4-part instructional video series is a must for coaches, hockey associations, schools, clinics, camps, and parents. Outstanding features include fundamentals, equipment tech talk, on-ice conditioning, puck handling, basic drills, advanced drills, and much, much more. The goaltender's game is thoroughly examined from the fundamentals to the elite levels of training. BTP accomplishes this through in-depth, concise, and easy-to-understand instruction. Mix in exciting professional action video, detailed slow-motion stop-action footage, helpful animation, and content you won't find anywhere else, and the choice is clear. Welcome to our world of goaltending in the 21st century. Enter the modern arena of ice hockey with Between the Pipes 4-part instructional video series, Goaltending. Your game starts here. DVD 4, Elite Drills. Perimeter situations. One of the hardest things for a goaltender to battle during a game is a situation that starts on the perimeter and then instantly works its way into an in-tight situation. The hardest part is the goaltender's stance. The elite goaltender should have a more relaxed stance when the player with possession is on the outside. As they move in with the puck, the stance should deepen into the preload stance. These next drills will help the goaltender with this transition. Circle walkout. Circle walkouts can be performed with one shooter or multiple. The pucks and shooters must start behind the goal line at either corner. The goaltender will start on a post position facing the shooter in the corner. As the shooter walks around the circle, the goalie must challenge forward as well as follow the shooter laterally. Both must be done instantaneously. The shooter will then come around to the top of the circle and shoot from just outside the hash marks in the red zone. Try to make sure the goaltender does not cheat the drill by staying on the post until the shooter comes to the top of the circle. This will defeat the drill entirely. Live tip and screen. This drill will require at least 2 shooters. One shooter will be just inside the blue line, center of the ice. The other shooter will be in the corners with pucks. The first shooter will make a pass from the corner to the shooter on the blue line. Following the path of the puck, the shooter will curl slightly upward and then towards the net. Once they are in the area of the net, the shooter on the blue line will shoot the puck on the ice to be tipped. The goaltender will start at their post position on the shooter in the corner. As the pass goes to the point, The goalie must follow it, keeping in mind not to over-challenge with the threat of shooter skating towards the net. As the shot is taken from the point, the goaltender must move into it and make the save off the tip. The setup of this drill opens up the door for goaltenders cheating. Many goalies will automatically begin moving into the shot towards the back door, knowing that's where the puck is supposed to go. Be sure to watch for this and make sure the goalie isn't anticipating. Give and go. 2 shooters will be necessary to facilitate this setup. The give and go drill is a great representation of what will actually happen in a game situation. A player will have the puck on the sideboards, then pass it down low to initiate a cycle. He will then proceed to the net for the pass back. To start, place a shooter somewhere on the sideboards at the hash mark or top of the circle with pucks. The second shooter must remain on the goal line or slightly behind, somewhere in between the boards and the center of the net. The shooter with pucks will make a pass down low. Then proceed to the net, receiving the puck at the last second for a quick shot in front. Most oftentimes, we will find goalies waiting on the post for the first pass, then moving only to make the save. If this is the case in a game, a good shooter would, of course, not make the pass, but take the shot right away, seeing the goalie deep and out of position. Keep this in mind when you're doing this drill. The goalie must respect the shooter on the sideboards by challenging out to their position, then moving back to the post before moving out again to make the save. Puck handling. We still cannot stress how important it is for goaltenders to continually improve on their overall puck handling skills. The game is becoming faster and faster, and the leagues are making it harder and harder for goalies to help in the play. If you are a good puck handler, it will take you a long way. Stopping the puck. There are no secrets to improving how a goalie stops the puck. It just takes practice, and a lot of it. The best way to practice this is to have a shooter by the blue line with pucks. The goalie will start on position with the shooter. The shooter will dump the puck in along the boards. The goalie should drive back to the boards, keeping in mind to turn their head to see the play, and most of all, never turn their back completely to the play. A good goalie will practice this religiously, using all the techniques which were specified in DVD 2. The goalie should practice hard dumps, soft dumps, stopping pucks in shooting positions, and stopping them on the backhand. These drills are seemingly simple and in some cases monotonous, but they must be done right, and done often. Before the goal line. One of the hardest things to get used to with goalies that have to make the jump to the higher levels is the trapezoid rule the NHL has instituted. This rule does not allow the goalie to play the puck anywhere outside the trapezoid behind the goal line. Besides getting better at stopping and handling the puck, a different solution is stopping the puck before the puck crosses the goal line. This is a risky endeavor, especially with a lot of oncoming pressure, but it has definite rewards if done proficiently. Loose puck hustle. One of the most fatiguing drills in our arsenal is the loose puck hustle. It entails a lot of skating for the goalie. This drill has 3 variations. The basic drill starts with a shooter just inside the blue line with pucks. This shooter will flip a puck up and try to place it in the corner just as a player would on a rush into the zone. This is the best place for the opposing team to set up. The goalie must hustle out of the net to get to the puck before the puck crosses the goal line. Once they stop the puck, they must pass it back to the shooter at the blue line and skate back to the net, preparing for a shot. The variation of this drill comes in when the goalie is stopping the puck. The optimal position for the goalie is always to remain on their feet. If the puck is too fast to get there standing, The next best option is kneeling with the stick extended. This leaves the goalie in a position to quickly recover to make a play on the puck. The final variation is if the puck is too fast to stop it kneeling. The only other option is to stop it with a dive. This is not recommended in a game situation. If the puck is that far out and going that fast, it isn't worth it to try and chase it down. The risks here outweigh the rewards. It is something that should still be practiced. If you can master stopping the puck, you have solved the first half of the equation. Playing the puck. Stopping the puck is great, but if you don't have any skills at playing the puck, then your skills at stopping the puck are all but useless. Playing the puck doesn't mean just firing off the glass, but a combination of shooting, passing, and setting the puck. Just as with stopping the puck, there is no magic drill that is better than others to help a goalie play the puck. Here's a tip to help evaluate how proficient a puck handler you are. Just like the numbering system we have for rebounds and your save percentage, you can calculate how good you are at playing the puck. Have somebody at games or practices mark down how many times the goalie had to come out of their net to help play the puck. Have them mark down how many times the goalie's team maintained puck possession because of the pass or play the goalie made. Then, like any other percentage, divide the two. For example, if the goalie plays the puck 10 times and completes 7 passes that weren't broken up, and the team maintained possession for a breakout, then you divide 7 by 10 and you get the decimal of 0.07 or 70%. This is a great tool, but only if you use it, just like the rebound control equation. Rebound control. In DVD 2, we gave goaltenders some simple tips to aid in their rebound control. Although there aren't too many drills that can improve rebound control, we certainly have some important tips. The numbering system is only as good as how you use it. It is not being put to use properly if you are only following it during games. It is just as important, if not more important, to keep track of it periodically in practice. You practice how you play. In practice, you are not concentrating on rebounds if you do not finish the play all the way out. This means watching the puck until it is completely out of play. If you focus on following the puck even after the play is done or until the puck is completely out of harm's way, you will begin to be more aware of the need for improving your rebound control. Reactionary drills. These next and final drills take a goalie's reaction time and dramatically improve it. Some of these drills require extra equipment. That equipment is used at our goaltending clinics and private lessons. It is available from between the pipes and will be worth the investment. Without extra equipment, two-shot tempo. Two-shot tempo is a great drill, but requires a good deal of skill from the shooter to be effective. The shooter in this scenario is at the top of the circles with pucks center of the net. The shooter will set 2 pucks up at a time, then rapid fire the 2 at the goalie. The goalie must stop the first shot and immediately turn their attention to the next shot that is coming in a split second behind it. This is why it requires more skill on the shooter's part. The faster the shooter releases the puck, the faster the goalie must react. Low shot, high shot. Without going into a long description about low shot, high shot, it is the same drill as the two-shot tempo, with the exception of where the pucks are placed on net. With the two-shot tempo, the pucks are randomly thrown at the net, usually closer to center. With low shot, high shot, the shooter has to start with a low shot to one side, then rapid fire a high shot to the opposite side. This is a definite benefit because it makes the goalie use a full range of motion when trying to react and stop both pucks. With extra equipment. All the equipment shown in this DVD is for sale by contacting Between the Pipes, either online or by phone. Double D-board retreat. Deflection boards, as we have said in DVD 3, are great tools for coaches to use. They can benefit goalies of all ages by starting easy and slow and then adding in more difficulty. Here, we're going to add more difficulty than in DVD 3. The best drill to do with an elite goalie is what we call double D-board retreat. It takes the same setup with 2 deflection boards off to either side and adds an extra step of difficulty. For this drill, the goalie will start deep in their crease. They will then challenge out just like a breakaway is coming. They will initiate a retreat, and as they are retreating, the shooter will bank a puck off either deflection board randomly. Screen board pass. For this drill, we will put the screen board in place off to the side of the net. 2 shooters will be necessary for this drill. One shooter will be behind the screen with pucks. The other shooter will be moving around the zone at random. The goalie will start at their post watching the screen for a puck to come out around it or underneath it. This puck is a pass that is going to the shooter floating around the zone, waiting for one-timer or quick shot. One thing many goalies catch themselves doing is getting caught with tunnel vision. Goalies will get so into trying to find the puck that they will forget where the player is in the zone. The goalie must have a grasp of where the immediate threat is at all times. Screen board one-timer. This drill happens to be a shooter's dream and a goalie's worst nightmare. It will again require 2 shooters. One shooter will be somewhere around the face-off dot, while the other shooter is on their forehand behind the screen board. The screen board should be between the hash marks and the top of the circle, with one wrap of the tarp around the main support beam to improve reaction time just slightly. The goalie will start on angle with the shooter at the face-off dot. That shooter will then pass the puck to the shooter behind the board for a one-timer. The goalies must T-push over and purely anticipate the shot in a blocking butterfly. The object here is to try and get hit by becoming a larger target, as opposed to stopping the puck by moving to make a save. Screen board walk around. One of the hardest drills to react to is the screen board walk around. The goalie is stationary while the shooter has momentum and a screen in front of him. The screen board position should be right at the bottom hash mark. A shooter or multiple shooters will line up a good distance behind the screen board with pucks, giving themselves a good amount of room to gather speed. The shooters will skate right at the screen board until the last second, where they will pick a side and walk around the screen board for a shot. The goalie must be in a preload stance, looking directly at the screen board. This sets them up for optimal peripheral vision to see the shooter the moment he comes around the board. Once they recognize the shooter has come around, they will pivot and drive into the save.